Quick Bites is back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
How was our first guest?
Amazing. I think it went really well. We got
Elliot
a lot.
crushed it.
Yeah, we got a lot of good content, and it seemed like Elliot
He was a great
he was
guest.
good on camera. He was good talking. Like, he was everything that I wanted.
My
from
biggest
a guest.
takeaway was always have an exit strategy. Not just one exit strategy, two exit strategies.
Yes.
Makes a good investor / developer or whatever you're doing. What's the pod sponsored by today? Slow by Slow?
Slow by slow, like always.
Or The Rock? Zoa Healthy Warrior
Is
Energy
that the
Drinks.
Rocks?
Yes.
Oh.
Got them at Costco yesterday.
Was the Rock there sampling them?
I wish. I would take my shirt off for him. All right, not bad.
What's the flavor on that?
Orange.
Okay.
Wild orange tastes like kind of like a Celsius, but a little bit more flavorful. Like
I've never had a Celsius.
energy drink high C. Think that.
So is this like, you said it's a health?
It's just a 0 calorie, 0 sugar.
I know. Is it like energy or is it just
Yeah.
like
120 milligrams of caffeine, focus, vitamins B and 12,
Okay, so it's just
potassium, magnesium, 190 grams of branch chain amino acid. Hey, that's pretty good. Hey, I like these.
That's cool.
Good job, Rock. All right, Quick Bites. We've got some fun stuff coming down the pipeline this fall.
Yep.
We're going to start our fund at the end of the year.
Yes.
Really excited about that.
That'll be fun.
Are we going to invest in Twitter or not?
I mean, Elon has officially decided to go through with the deal.
Yes.
He kind of stepped up to the plate and was like, "All right, let's do it." $54.20 a share.
I sold my...
Well, I was gonna say,
Call.
if you wouldn't have, you still would have lost the money because of the theta. It would have eaten away the time decay of that contract that you bought.
Right.
Would have eaten away the value. So even if you would have had it, it probably wouldn't have gone up in value.
Oh,
which is
that's
crazy.
really interesting. Explain that a little bit for those
When was the
watching and
expiration date?
listening. This
Friday?
Friday.
Tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah. So since the stock jumped, like, was it Monday?
20% or
This
something
week-
like
this
that.
week, Monday, though?
Yeah.
I mean, for a contract that you bought, what, 2 months ago?
Yeah,
almost?
about 2 months ago.
The theta, aka time decay, would have
I like that time decay.
would have eaten away that value of that contract. And granted, you have to look at so many other of the Greeks because it's like they're not always the same. Like, the theta is not always going to eat it away at the same rate. So like, some of them are different per contract, how far out of the strike price they are, the expiration. It's all so different.
So it's like just a big math problem, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. But I would say as an estimate, it probably would have been worth nothing just because you held it for so long and then it didn't jump until like the week of expiration.
Right.
But if you would have bought a contract on Monday for the same expiration,
Because the whole math problem's different because of the time.
yeah, it's still like the same. Like, you could have technically probably bought
Rebought the same contract.
but since you didn't hold it from point A, you held it from point J. So like the time decay was less, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense.
But yeah, so that's kind of interesting. And what's actually funny, I kind of learned one time, I think it was because of the volatility, not even the theta, but I bought a contract of Disney. Earnings came out, it jumped like 25%, and my contract lost value because of the. There's just like so many. I'm trying to think.
This is
of it.
why you don't do options, people.
Yes, the IV. Oh, what's that called? Something volatility. Why am I blanking on it? Anyway,
Riley didn't have his coffee yet.
if that's like 50% or more, like, the contracts could be all over the place, whether that's down or up. But yeah, it was interesting. It was the first time I experienced that because the contract. So you can like see the chart of the contract too,
Right.
and like, so the chart of Disney was like up, and the chart of the contract was opposite of it. So it was really weird.
Are you sure you didn't buy a put?
No, it was a call, but it was super interesting to learn that. I was glad I did, but I was kind of like, well, that was kind of a waste of time because, like,
All I care about is if it goes up or down, and this is why I don't buy contracts. Buy good companies and hold them for periods of time.
yeah, don't.
Did you hear that there's a new ETF coming out that's like the inverse of Kramer, of what he says?
I think I did see that.
That's pretty comical. All right, back to Elon buying Twitter. Elon is a G,
Elon's a G.
and he is gonna. I saw a little clip today. WeChat dominates in China. I don't know if you've ever used WeChat, but they use it for
I don't know what that is.
payments, communication. WeChat is kind of like,
WhatsApp?
yeah, kind of. It's
But you can also
just,
do payments and
yeah,
stuff?
you can do payments through it as well, which is kind of interesting.
Sounds like China's apps are very versatile.
Yes, like the TikTok in China, like it has a whole shopping page. It's kind of like Amazon, but social media like mixed together. And I think that the reason why Elon went through with it, one, because he was going to pay a bunch of fines if he didn't. Two, I think he finally is coming to terms with like what is he going to do with Twitter. And then I also saw something today that like if he fires the CEO within the first 12 months, the CEO gets like a $42 million payday if he gets fired within the first 12 months. It's like in his contract that if Elon steps in and's like, see you, dude, he gets a nice payday.
Interesting. I didn't see that.
I
think-
the X factor.
I think Elon kind of was like, all right, I have to do this now. Let's figure out what we can do with it.
I'm shocked he didn't even negotiate the deal down. Like,
Yeah.
I think he finally found the intrinsic value in the stock or like in the company of Twitter that he's like, okay, I know what I can generate from this thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, you take someone like Elon, you could give him like dirt and sticks, and he would make SpaceX in 3 years. So it's
Yeah.
like,
And
he's
then
pretty innovative.
SpaceX just launched another thing to the space station,
yeah, I
another rocket.
briefly saw something
This
about that.
is the I believe it's the first time that they're reusing the actual pod and the whole rocket shaft. Like
That's big.
the whole rocket's being reused.
That's big.
Like think of, I mean, I don't know how much rockets cost, but in the
A lot.
billions for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, because when Elon figured out the technology to have those things land themselves in the
Dude.
middle of the ocean, I'm just like,
No,
I don't-
like
I don't even-
like
I don't
how
even
does
understand.
how do we have rockets that land themselves but not self-driving cars yet? Do you think that's a government thing?
Yeah, I have no
Because
idea.
I feel like we have the technology. If you can land
but it's also like
100,000-pound rocket on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
But that's also like being monitored by rocket scientists. That could also be the thing. Like people with the self-driving cars, like the people in those are not rocket scientists.
That's true.
So I think maybe that could play a role off my first impression of that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Elon, thanks for everything you do. You're changing the world
Yeah, we went to that
one social media app at a time.
Yep, we went to the Boise Dev broadband little panel yesterday, and they're talking about Starlink.
Yes.
And Starlink's great and amazing, but like you were saying, you can't do it in a heavily populated area because
Yeah,
it's,
you
like,
can't
too
order it or something like
concentrated.
that. Yeah, it's too like they can't. There's something that he doesn't have enough satellites to do it in like downtown Boise yet.
Yeah.
Because there would be too many signals or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so Starlink's great. It's just very expensive. 500 installment fee and 120 a month.
I think so.
That's, I mean, like for what you get, I think it would be worth it to some people. I've seen the download speed on it, and I'm just like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Someone downloaded like their whole Spotify playlist. It was like 1,500 songs in like 4 seconds.
Wow.
Um,
That's impressive.
so yeah, it was crazy, but it's just a little expensive for the average consumer.
Right.
But I think
Especially
it's
after that
great
event
technology.
yesterday, you know, it was
Yeah.
really interesting to hear them talk about all the issues that they ran into during COVID from like an education standpoint where so many households don't have broadband internet, like Wi-Fi or anything for that matter. I was like shocked because
Yeah.
you and I are both like, we just have it,
Yeah.
you know, like
It's never been a
It's
question.
never been a question, but I could see so many households that don't or can't afford it. I really liked the thing that the city of Boise is doing where they're starting to install Wi-Fi in parks.
Yeah, that's
Like
a
I
cool,
think that's a really cool
brilliant.
concept to, as long as we can get that out to the public, and we should definitely do a video on that when they do it
Yeah.
and just share,
if-
hey, we learned this at this event, and if you're needing Wi-Fi, and I don't know,
Yeah.
I just think that's a great idea.
And the doctor that was on the panel, I'm spacing his name. I think it was like Daniel or something. I can't remember exactly, but he was saying the affordability is not there for a lot of people, but also people don't know how to use it even.
That 100%.
And I think some people don't, maybe some people don't see the need for it.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, obviously you don't need Wi-Fi, but like if you have a kid that's
Actually,
in
you do
school-
need it, Riley.
Well, I mean, yeah, because they were talking about the telehealth. There's so many
There's
factors.
so many factors.
So many factors.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, a little side tangent.
Yep. Side tangent.
But let's chat about Kim K. Or do you
Ooh,
want to chat
Kimmy
about
K. Oh, so
Facebook
here,
first?
okay, here is my NFL drama.
Okay.
Tom Brady's getting a divorce.
I saw that.
What do you think about that?
I haven't seen or read too much about it. I just know
I
it's
heard
messing
Tom's
with his career.
changed since he's been to Florida. So back to Kim K. I think he needs to go on a date with her.
I see what you're
Tom
saying.
Brady, Kim Kardashian.
That would be crazy.
Some drama.
They would definitely do that.
They definitely
For
should.
sure.
So if you guys are out there watching, let's all tag them in this Quick
That would
Bites post.
actually, I could see
That
that
would
happening
create some
for
massive drama.
Sure. Yeah.
Giselle is so hot.
And
Tom, what are you doing?
I don't know. I didn't see the reason for it, but or like why they did
Just
it. but-
differences. You
Yeah.
know, they did the that episode, the thing on Tom Brady, the special last year that came out, and there was a few episodes talking about how like Giselle and Tom's relationship was kind of rough because he continued to. I mean, when you have a family coming from a family guy, there's time allocated to that to have a healthy family relationship with not only your wife but your kids.
Yeah.
And I think there was some investment from Giselle that she said, okay, well, I want Tom to be happy. Like, let's keep, pursuing your career. Should have hung him up when you won the Super Bowl, buddy.
Yeah.
Thrown the trophy across the
So you're saying
boats.
it's kind of mutual? Was it?
I think it is a little mutual where like more so, I don't know. My guess is Tom just needs to hang him up. Like
Yeah.
you're already the GOAT, bro. Like what else do you need to accomplish? But then I know from an athlete's mentality, like if I was that good, there's no way in hell that I'd hang him up if I'm better than half of the other quarterbacks in the
And
NFL.
you're,
At
what,
least.
45?
Yeah,
How
40,
old is he?
45. He could play till he's 50 if he stays healthy. And then I read
Easy.
something yesterday too. He was really close to retiring when he was 27 because he had so much tendonitis in his elbow from throwing and all of that stuff. Changed his diet, his workout programs, all better. So Kim K, what's she up to?
Kim K just had to pay the SEC like $1.3 million in settlement fees. She promoted an Ethereum Max asset last year publicly on her social media.
I wonder how much she got paid for that post.
I was going to say, and she failed to inform people that she was being paid to post that, which is a big no-no. And so I'm not really sure what happened with the asset. I mean, I can assume that it probably just pumped and
Went to
dumped.
zero.
Yeah. And so they finally kind of, I don't know if they were like, if there was an ongoing investigation or if they just finally decided to do it. I think they're using Kim K as an example because like I think this stuff will be a lot more common
right?
for like,
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they are using her for an example because 1.3 mil to her, yeah, it sucks. But still, it's like, all right, here.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, I think it was kind of, she has like a really big reach amongst everybody. So, and I think a lot of people don't even know that you can't do that stuff. Because like when I started my TikTok in 2021, I was like, oh, I have to put that I'm not like a financial advisor. Or I'm going to get sued. Like there's so many things you have to learn. And I think that was like like I said, with crypto and NFTs becoming more popular and mainstream, like it's like, all right, people, this is not just hobbies. Like this is like some serious financial stuff at some point.
Yep.
And the liability gets a lot bigger when money's involved. Random
agree.
people's money involved.
I think it's also good on the SEC to kind of target her, like
Yeah.
we're saying, because it just kind of goes to show like you just can't get away with pump and dump schemes. I mean, they're trying to limit it as much as possible because there's so many people getting left with a bag, and they're like, oh shit.
I remember there was a lot of them last year.
There were so many.
There
of
was a
them.
lot. Yeah, but it's
just like
crazy.
my yayo investment.
And that's why it's like you got to do your research and your due diligence. It's just like real estate.
Yep.
Like you're not just gonna go buy a building without knowing what it is.
Bingo.
Like if you match that mindset to crypto, you wouldn't just go buy everything.
I know.
You would actually think about it.
And it is funny because like so many people have influence like Kim Kardashian that it's like, hey, buy this because I bought it. Okay, show us where you really bought it, or are you just promoting it? You know what I mean?
Oh, people won't even question it if it's like someone they look up to. Like they're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So that's
Yep.
kind of crazy, but
I mean, if Conor McGregor launched one, I'd buy it.
yeah, and I'm sure that Kim was in that asset herself early
Yeah,
and made
I
money
wonder
from
when
that
she
as
sold
well.
it.
Yeah,
that would be really interesting to see.
it's crazy. I know you had something you wanted to chat about.
So back to our good friends over at Meta.
Yeah,
Good old Zucks. I know we talk about him quite a bit,
poor
but
guy.
I sold all my Facebook. I did. I just
Yeah,
exited.
I,
I don't know if this whole Meta thing's going to take off. I think Facebook and Instagram are like strong companies. I just think he's spending way too much money on R&D to try and really step into this metaverse phase, because I think the work from home concept is valuable, but at the same time, the office is nice.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Now, Bree and I have 2 bedrooms. I have a place where I can work and do work, and it's nice. I can, but
Yeah.
I couldn't do that every day and stay inspired.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though the office doesn't change, it's still there's something about it. Coming in here, being around you, being around other people, being able to walk downstairs and go get a coffee at Slow. Like, there's just so many things that
There's a cultural
add.
like environment with
Yeah,
office and office space. So some interesting news, and I think this is just the downfall of Meta in ways.
yeah.
They are about to shake up the commercial real estate industry, in my opinion. From yes, okay, work from home is true and it's going to transition into the future. Huge companies aren't going to be renting out 20, 40, 50 thousands of square feet like they used to, because there is that option from work from home. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting from a commercial real estate standpoint how that gets sprinkled in. Luckily in Idaho, we don't have this massive amount of vacancy with this whole work from home thing. I think like the biggest one was like 2 floors at the CenturyLink building that they're like, all right, half of our staff is going work from home. And it was like, oh my gosh, like the world's going to end in Boise, Idaho. No, they subleased it. They filled it.
Yeah, our vacancy rate's like still like 1%.
Yeah, it's still like 1% in the office. But Facebook just exercised an option to terminate its entire lease at 225 Park Avenue in New York City. Over $110 million invested in the space to date, and now
Like
they're just walking away from it.
like they're releasing it, and that's how much money they just.
Yes, or they're trying to terminate the deal.
Like
So
they were
like that
buying
could
it?
be like buying out of their lease to
Gotcha, I
get
see.
rid of it. Or it could be the concept of maybe they've spent 110 million on like a build out. I mean, this building is massive, 225 Park,
Do they own the whole building?
Park
Are they in
Avenue.
the whole building, or is it like a?
3/4 of the building basically. So most likely the whole
okay.
building. But many people are understanding that like what this kind of points to is Facebook signed these leases during the pandemic, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Because even knowing that they knew work from home was a thing, they were still pursuing. And I think I even remember seeing this in 2020 when they signed the Park Avenue lease and they're like, oh, wait, work from home isn't going to be this real thing. And then now they're like, all right, yeah, see ya, you know?
Yeah.
So work from home, I think, is here to stay. But it's not going to be 50% of the workforce in these companies, I don't think, because there's something with the culture. There's something with the office space. I think office space is going to go through an evolution like retail has, where retail the last 10 years has become way more service based rather than product based, because we can buy products online.
Yeah.
But I think it's changing. And I think that really good office developers are learning how to evolve, like the Kiln.
Yep.
You know, that building at Eagle View Landing is, I mean, talk about it a little bit. You've been there before.
It's a co-working space.
Yep.
I don't know numbers wise, but
How big is it? It's pretty big, isn't it?
it's big. I think Kiln itself is like 2 floors of it.
Okay, so 20 to 30,000 square feet.
It's pretty large. So
Yeah.
I don't know numbers wise from like how many private offices you can rent out and lease like for yourself,
Right.
but there's like different options. So you can lease and rent out a private separate office for yourself, or you can just pay a monthly fee and you can go work there in all the common area spaces.
Right.
And I've always wanted to create a place like that.
The entrepreneur hub.
Yep. So I think we've talked about it probably. I don't know if we have, but it's
Riley
like,
and I are full of ideas
Oh,
right now. We
geez.
just got to pick one and go.
yeah, seriously, I think we're getting closer.
Yeah, we're super close.
But it's like, pretty much how I would think of it. It's an apartment complex without the living quarters. So you got the gym, you got the pool, you got the office space, you have the coffee shop, you have all of the stuff that you need that's not living. And another idea that I had with that is if you want to do a weekend work vacation you can rent out a room for the weekend, but you can't live there. So you can stay there for the weekend, be super productive for the weekend, like a getaway kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
But it's like you got the gym, you got all this stuff, you got
Isn't it interesting to see what's kind of evolved from like the WeWork Adam Newman phase of like WeWork was a good concept.
yeah.
It's just I think they got over leveraged.
Well, and that goes back to the work from home thing. I don't think if I was going to build a company, I wouldn't want my employees at home all the time. Not because I am going to restrict them to being at the office, but it's because culture is very important to me, and you can't build that when they're not there and a part of the team. And
What about the metaverse? Can't do it.
I just can't. I can't get behind it myself. But let's see. So, and then after that, I would say 80% of people are like, everyone has like ADD or whatever these days. So it's like,
Right.
how can they stay productive
Yes.
and like want to work there? Because I mean, I have 2 dogs at home. Like, yeah, whatever. I can lock them in the living room and I can go in the separate room.
But guess what? You're gonna want to do your laundry. You're gonna want to like make lunch.
Yep. I'm like, oh, I should eat. It's just like here, I just zone in. I'm like, there's nothing to worry about here. So I don't think it's gonna be like the long term forever thing.
Right.
I think it's good to like mix it in. And now like schools are doing 4 days
Yeah.
a week.
Yep.
So I like it. I do because there's days where I can work at home all day. But if I was doing that every day, I would just like it would be terrible.
The change is kind of nice too. Like even since we've moved offices, there's still a part of me. I love coming to the office, but for my productivity, I know that if I took like a morning once a week and worked from a coffee shop 9 to noon, I'd probably be more productive than coming to the office Monday through Friday.
No, I agree.
You know?
There's a mix of all of it though.
Yeah.
Because if I go to a coffee shop for 3 hours, there's literally nothing there for me to do besides work.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I can film a podcast. I can make a TikTok. I can write on my whiteboard ideas. Like there's so much stuff that I could do here besides work, which is not a bad thing. It's still all work. But if I had like a task I needed to do,
Yeah. You can kind of
Um,
isolate that. I know that that's what I love when I go on vacation sometimes it's not really vacation when we go to Vegas for like a week.
yeah,
I love that time when I just go post up at the Starbucks for like 7 hours. It's like I get so much done.
I bet.
It's crazy. And you
it's
know
just
the
a change
feeling.
of environment.
Yeah, yeah. And I've got my good old friend, shoot, what's his name? But he feeds the birds. He's so annoying. All these fucking pigeons come flying in and he's like throwing fucking sandwiches. He's this New Yorker guy.
Oh,
He comes
Jesus.
there every day.
I go back to New York, dude.
Yeah, come on, bro. Go
Yeah.
back, feed the pigeons there.
No, I think it'll be interesting to see how the work from home evolves over the times. But I think personally, if I was building a business, I'd want office space. I want us to do things together,
Yes.
dinners, whatever. It's
Team
just-
breakfast tomorrow.
Yep.
Excited about
First time
that.
at Goldie's for me.
Riley.
I'm
Riley.
sorry. I don't know.
Once again,
Well, I never.
you're young.
I
and
didn't
you're
come to-
inexperienced.
I didn't
because
come to
you've never been to
Boise.
Goldies before.
I didn't come to Boise till I was like 14 and a half. So
That's crazy to me.
'Cause I
what
lived
were
in
your
Meridian.
parents doing?
working in, well, I actually worked downtown, but I lived in Meridian. But
That's pretty comical to me.
yeah. Well, that was a good pod.
That was a good pod.
Anything
Quick
else?
bites. No.
Quick Bites.
Yeah.
That's going to be a familiar name.
Yep. Get to know it.